Hey guys, welcome back to another Ask Me Anything response video. As you know, every Monday I post an Ask Me Anything prompt for any kind of questions you may have regarding art, JLA specifically, my new project specifically, basically whatever. And then I respond to the comments left on that post in a video posted on the following Friday. So today we're tackling the Ask Me Anything post from this past Monday, which was the last Monday in April, whatever that date actually was. I do not know, because time means nothing right now while we're all under shelter-in-place order. But anyway, I only had one question this week, but I thought it was a kind of interesting one, and it comes from the real Casey Jones, and Casey asks, "Hey Yale, curious, outside of DC, what's your favorite universe to draw in?" With the stipulation that I can't say Aiton, which is the main character of my new project. I cannot say his world. And I find this to be a really interesting question because twofold. For starters, the DC thing, and maybe I'm taking the world aspect a little bit too literally, but JL8 isn't really set in like the DC universe proper, by which I mean, they're not in Metropolis, they're not in Gotham, they're not in Central City, they're not on Apokolips. But I do think that the question is generally more about characters, and it's just not really something I've ever thought a whole lot about, to be completely truthful. Frankly, I think that the world, like if we're talking holistically, both like environment, characters, etc. The world I most enjoy working in is the real one. Some of you may know one of the first comics I ever did was titled Gifted, which I may actually revisit someday. And it's like pseudo autobiographical, a little bit, kind of inspired by hijinks I used to get into in like high school and college with some of my friends. And that's always been a place that I really enjoy. That's a sandbox I really enjoy playing in. And some of that might be because it's the sandbox I'm most familiar with, not just because I live in the real world, but Gifted was also kind of the final stage of a comic I had already started back in high school. Back in high school, I was basically doing Gifted as like, it started off as a pretty explicit Penny Arcade ripoff, but it was about me and my friends, and I would do like 3-panel strip kind of things that I would post around the high school for other students to read. So I'm just very familiar with that world because I've been working in it since 2004 or something like that. But I really enjoy that. And some of it is because when you work in the real world, or at least something, a close facsimile of the real world, for me, I don't have to focus as much on what do the buildings look like, how are the cities laid out, what kind of vehicles do they have, XYZ. I can focus purely on the stuff I really enjoy, which is character and storytelling and acting. Because the project I'm working on currently, featuring Aiton, as you point out, is a fantasy adventure thing, and I love fantasy adventure as a consumer, as an audience member, but it's not something that I've ever done a lot of creator-wise. Like growing up, I didn't draw, at least to the best of my recollection, I didn't draw a bunch of like knights and dragons and wizards and all that kind of thing. It just didn't really occur to me, for starters. But yeah, like you go online, you see these people who the world building is just what they do, and they're so good at it. They just have portfolios of fantasy landscapes and all these different armor styles and creature designs and all this stuff, and it's so cool. But that, for me, that's a lot of work, and it can be really fun. But for me, I'm kind of like grinding through that because I'm just like, I just want to get this design done. I want to get this puppet built so that I can finally put them in the comic and make them act. Puppet Master. Um, so working in the real world, and I think that would be a benefit of something like Marvel, since Marvel is clearly based in the real world, at the very least, generally it's in New York, um, is that the environments and stuff are kind of already there for you. You just kind of have to like go snap reference photos, or you snap enough reference and pay enough attention, and eventually you can like internalize, okay, these are various house architectural styles in this region, or this is what cars are generally popular in this region. Like, oh, okay, I'm doing something set in like rural Missouri. Maybe there are a lot of pickup trucks. Okay, let me memorize how to draw F-150s, Ram 2500s, maybe some Toyotas, whatever. And then you can go look at reference for that stuff and you can internalize it, as opposed to, okay, in this fantasy story, what do wagons look like? What do horse-drawn carriages look like? Let me design that. I actually haven't had lunch yet, so I'm probably rambling. I get kind of verbose when I'm hungry. But yeah, I think that kind of is the very, very long way to get to the answer of, I really like playing in the real world. I like observing real world fashion. I love observing real world, architecture, vehicles, behaviors, even just like mannerisms that are in vogue, like voguing, for example. Apparently voguing is back among kids these days, which is very strange. But, things like that. Partly because I'm lazy, and partly because I feel like I know it really well, so it gives me a level of confidence working with it that I trust it will be believable. Whereas if I were working on a proper Batman book set in Gotham, I might be worried that, oh, do these buildings look like what the reader thinks Gotham looks like, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, if we're talking like strictly characters, like just characters, I mean, I do love Marvel a lot. I mean, I've probably drawn Spider-Man more throughout the course of my life than I've drawn any other character, for a variety of reasons. A, he's probably my favorite fictional superhero character, and B, I mean, he looks awesome. Like, who doesn't like Spider-Man's costume? And you'd think that the webbing would be a put off, but it's actually kind of therapeutic to do all the webbing on there. But yeah, so like holistic answer would be the real world or a facsimile of it. So, working in like pseudo autobiographical or just kind of like slice of life type content. Character driven, I would say Marvel, and even within that, I would probably specify, pardon me, like the Spider-Man universe, because I also really like all his villains, not just as characters, but like they're fun. They're really well designed. They're fun to draw. And I think that about covers it. So yeah, one more time without the rambling in between everything. Holistically, real world, slice of life type stuff. Broad, just character style, Marvel. Micro style, the Spider-Man universe specifically. But yeah, I hope that answered the question. I hope I know I kind of rambled on, but that's kind of my shtick. That's sort of just like what I do. Um, but yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was kind of illuminating. I know this is pretty inside baseball in a lot of ways, and not everybody's super into that. I personally am, but yeah. So anyway, again, letting everybody know next Monday, which it will be. I want to say Monday is May the 4th. Hey, May the 4th be with you. On May the 4th, another AMA prompt will go live. If you have any further questions, you can leave those comments on that post. It will be up for the entire week. So if you don't have anything to think of to ask on May the 4th, you can ask it on May the 5th, May the 6th, May the 7th. And I will address those topics in next Friday's Ask Me Anything response video. So I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy. I know that this has been going on for a long time. Everybody's getting a little stir crazy, but if we do everything right, it's going to look like we didn't need to do anything at all. Keep that in mind. Yada, yada, yada. I'll admit, I'm no doctor. You all know this. I'm just trying to stay positive, stay helpful. But yeah, I hope everybody has a good weekend. I hope that the weather is nice and you can at least sit outside in your backyard, go for a walk, whatever. But until next time, I will talk to you all soon. Take care.